we doing? You guys hanging in there? All right. Hope you still got a little juice left for the finisher here. All right. How we doing?
Your assessment so far, I guess we're 5 practices in, Kyle Trask, Baker Mayfield, what have you seen from each, and where do they stand right now?
Yeah, it's good. So first couple of days, I think the experience that Baker brings, just playing in games, being in camps, going through installs, you could see where the offense was gelling really well. The timing of the snaps and all that's really critical for us. So probably a little bit of an edge for Baker to start off just in terms of the smoothness of the offense. But it just took a couple of days for Kyle to really settle in. And then what we saw is the last 2 practices, Kyle really showed what he can do, stretching the field with his arm, getting the ball out quickly, making decisions. So I'm really excited about both of those guys and the progression that they've made throughout the last couple of days.
Kyle talked about working on his fundamentals this offseason with the coach in Jacksonville, worked on being a little less timid in the pocket and standing taller, but it seems like there have been some changes for him from the neck up. He's more decisive with the ball. It seems like it's coming out quicker. Have you seen that from him, and what would you attribute that to?
Yeah, he's mastering the concepts. And so the more that he can, in a pre-snap way, gather information and really start to progress. So, just in any pass concept, you may have as many as 3 or 4 progressions, but you don't have time to check all 3, kind of like a true sprinkler type of read. So where guys start to get comfortable and play fast is when they eliminate 1 and 2, they're getting to 3 and 4 in the same rhythm they would. So that's what I've been seeing from him that I'm excited about. And the other thing too is just, what's happening with Kyle is as I call a play, he's finishing the sentence before I can finish it. So that just speaks to like him studying the offense, studying the formations, and being really comfortable with what we're calling.
We've seen a lot of big plays from the rookie wide receivers, Braxton making big catches, Tay, Cade. What is it about your offensive system that allows them to play so fast, so quickly, really be on the same page with these quarterbacks?
Well, first I'll just give Brad Idzik some love. He does a fantastic job. He and Jeff Castle and David Rye are all in the receiver room. So you got 3 coaches that are in there really making sure that nobody gets left behind. So whether it's an extra 10 or 15 minutes with this guy or that guy. And then the intentionality of the install. So what we try to do is not overwhelm them with volume. Where in the past, you might be responsible for this entire playbook. We're going into our 7th practice right now. Well, if you break it up into smaller clusters, they can really focus on, say, 2 or 3 days at a time, and that really helps the young guys. This goes back to Pete, way back to USC, and his promise to a lot of the freshmen coming in is you're going to play. We don't expect you to know all the plays, but what you do well, we'll let you showcase that. And so that also followed us to Seattle, and we were able to get some guys to play early and be effective by not overwhelming them with too much.
Dave, one more thing on the quarterback situation. You're going into practice number 7.
Mm-hmm.
Would you say the quarterback competition is even tighter since day 1?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I think we were in the spring right in this room talking about it, and just the pros and cons of just naming a starter for the comfortability or playing this thing out. Well, I think what we're seeing is we're seeing a couple of guys who both have to put themselves in that starter mind frame going into the practices, knowing, hey, today's my day. I get to run with the ones. I get, maybe a few more reps. It's pretty much even when we go 1s and 2s the way we do it. But yeah, I just I see the 2 guys really challenging each other. And then the cool part is in our room, which a lot of people don't get to see and hear, is just, rule number 1, we're here to help the Bucs win. So whatever that is, we do that. And then second rule is we help each other. So Coach Moore, myself, Thad Lewis, Jordan Somerville, the assistant quarterbacks coach. Now you got 4 coaches with 3 players. So we're all in there talking. If there's something that benefits the team on a play, somebody sees it and says it. So you see the guys helping each other, and it's really just elevating the room and the competition factor. Don't leave John Wolford out of the deal too. Like, he wants to make plays and he has his own style of doing it. He brings a lot to the table too. So it's a really, really good competitive cauldron that we're creating in there.
You got 2 Pro Bowlers on the offensive line in Wirfs and Jensen. It would have been easy for you to sit there and say, okay, you guys are set at center and left tackle, And at left guard and right tackle, we'll have a competition and rotate some guys through there. But you decided to kind of pick your 5 starters and let them build continuity and chemistry from day one, because that does take time. Can you just speak to that philosophy?
Sure.
And how that is probably going to pay some dividends when if all 5 of these guys do the job?
Sure. So, I mean, high hopes, right? That group just stays and plays, but we all know the NFL, and we know that different combinations get thrown in there. But I think what happens is it's a communication thing. So when guys get used to talking to certain players, then that communication becomes really fluid, really natural. They're used to this guy playing right next to him, and the combinations and the blocks, not just the verbal communication, but that physical communication where 2 people are working on one guy, comboing up to the second level. They start to get used to how he hits this guy onto me, or how this guy slows him down for this other combo to overtake it. So even if it doesn't end up being that combination, at least the work of it, the physical work of it, allows us to get good clips on film for us to study and to show the team, like, hey, this is a really good, et cetera.
Coach, what kind of analytics or technology component is there to the quarterback competition? Like, are you able to track and practice who's releasing the ball quickly?
Yeah, so I mean, we have the most experienced person in the building. Tom Moore. He's tracking the ball out every single play, every single pass. So whether it's 7-on-7 or team settings, he's sitting there and he's timing it. And I'm very critical on the quarterbacks in terms of getting the ball out, because we want to encourage our offensive line to be aggressive with their sets to where they don't have to sit back and wait for the defense, see what they're going to do. Go get your hands on them. We're going to get the ball out. And so we commit to them to get the ball out in less than 3 seconds. 2.7 is our magic number. And if we get it out less than 3, if it's past 3 quarterbacks, you better be scrambling. So if you ever hear me yelling at practice, it's usually because we're beyond that 3-second point. And guys, you realistically don't have time to just sit here and pick the open guy. We got to move. We got to train our players to scramble. We got to train the defense to cover down when we break the pocket. So it all works together that way.
When you're forcing tempo at practice, is that more just to get the guys thinking less, or what's the philosophy behind that?
It's just a big part of what we do. So just making sure that every day has a little emphasis of the tempo. And then, to your point, if I feel the practice is starting to it's hot out there. And so if I feel like we're really starting to break the huddle slowly, I'll throw a tempo play in, and then everybody's just right back up, but we try to do it in a respectful manner with the defense, because it's not realistic as they rotate and sub people as well. So we try to let them get their call, get their eyes around, then let's go. And then that kind of trains the whole group to play faster, evaluate, diagnose, and then go from there.
Coach,
You're
you're
not
not
gonna run
shy
back.
about your excitement for Rashad White.
Oh,
What
man.
he can do.
Yeah.
Is everything that you were hoping for out there so far?
And yeah, I mean, just waiting to see some live bullet play from him. But I mean, he's just so natural. Everything he does, the run game, the pass game, pass protection, routes, really natural with both hands catching the ball. I think he's going to be fantastic. So just my part and our part as a staff is making sure that we are able to take advantage of all the skill set that he brings.
With the water zone, does that complement his style as a slasher more than say a power scheme would?
I wouldn't say that. That's part of the him being such a natural is there really isn't a run type he hasn't shown to just kind of feel. He feels it really well. So he doesn't restrict us in what we can do in that regard.
And what about the rest of the running back room? I know it's kind of, him is kind of running back number 1, but you've got some other guys in there. I know Sean Tucker's a guy we're just now starting to see, but
Yeah.
but just that whole group, him, Keyshawn Vaughn, just how things are kind of going with that.
Yeah, it's an exciting group. I mean, Sneak, again, so the cool part about Sneak is he's got enough experience right now where any run type you give him, he really knows what it's designed to do. So he's got patience on the ones he needs to be patient. He hits it fast on the ones he needs to. So he's exciting. Chase Edmonds, was a glorified slot receiver in Arizona. I coached against him, really just watched him play, for a bunch of years while he was there, and he's lightning in a bottle. I mean, he just shot out of a cannon, and he can do as much as a lot of our slot receivers do too. So he's a really dangerous asset for us. You talked about Sean. What I'm noticing about Sean Tucker is he's got another gear. So he's probably the fastest guy we have in the room, and he's really got some suddenness to him. Patrick Laird does everything right. You know, he's the guy that's like tapping me on the shoulders, like, hey, you know, on this, in the spring, we had this route on this concept. Is that what you want? The drawing was this. Yes, that's right. So he's on top of all that. And then Ronnie Brown, you know, I think, you know, what you're going to see is we're going to play Ronnie a lot in the preseason. You know, we're going to play all our guys, and he's got a real skill set too in the run game and the pass game. You know, he had a lot of carries. Was it Shepard, I believe? And so he had a phenomenal tape. If you ever get a chance to watch his highlight film on YouTube or something, if you have a second, it's pretty fun. And he's got personality too. He brings a lot of good juice to the room.
Coach, Todd Bowles, we have some defensive players like Anton Winfield that have said they're very complimentary of your scheme and the looks that you're giving them. So what have you learned from Todd Bowles' defense going up against it in practice, and how have you applied that maybe to what you're building with the offensive side of the ball?
Well, I just, you know, I don't want to speak too much about the defense. You guys just had Casey in here, but really for the most part, just the effort and the way they play together, they talk. You know, that's one of the big things. They communicate. They're always talking. And Antoine, he's a quarterback on the field, and so he's yelling out the plays. He's starting to get, you know, picking up where we're at, why we're doing it. Here comes a jet sweep, you know, and he's like, there's only a couple things they've been doing out of this formation. He's all over it, you know, and so we've had some good conversations there. And then, you know, just the corners and the nickels too, you know, just trying to evaluate how we're trying to attack them in the run game or the pass game. So, and it's just a good group of dudes. So had a good chance to get a little crossover time, you know, in practice, in the cafeteria, just try to build a team right now.
David Moore's one of those guys that really has not gotten a lot of pub or play, but yet you have experience with him from Seattle.
Yeah.
He's got an interesting body type, 6', 220. He's a bigger type receiver, not tall, but just physical. But what, you know, he had a couple of touchdowns the other day. What has he shown you so far?
Just his contact balance. So what I'm saying is just anytime someone's leaning on him, ball's in the air, he really doesn't get affected because he's so strong. And then I think the thing we haven't really been able to showcase that he can do is he's special with the ball. So a lot of perimeter screens and jet sweep type of things on the perimeter. He can really make yards in different ways as well. But he was a solid guy for us in Seattle. You know, he's got banged around a little bit with some injuries and some different situations in some places, but came in here with the brand new start, fresh attitude, and he kind of had a little bit of an edge because he knew some of our terms going into camp. So, and you know, and I love him. He's just a great guy. He's great for the room. He's fun to be around, and I'm glad he's here.
Dave, what were some of the factors of moving Gedke from guard to tackle?
Just necessity, right? So, and you know, he played tackle before, so there's a level of comfort for him. But he's such a great athlete out there. You know, I really feel great about our tackle situation with Tristan and with Luke right now. And it really gives you the ability, the feeling you can really run, any direction. And in the pass protection stuff, you know, they're both kind of playing new positions-ish. And so they're still just getting comfortable in their sets and doing all that. But, you know, we're not going to sit back there and drop back 50 times a game and really force them to do that. We're going to play to our strengths and both of them really get after it in the run game. So.
You called Antoine Winfield Jr. a quarterback. Servassier Dennis was a four-year quarterback in high school.
Yeah.
He's made a lot of plays.
Yeah, he's
been a buck.
awesome.
4 interceptions I've counted, 2 in training camp. Just what qualities, and again, I know you're watching the offense,
Yeah.
but just what makes him so difficult to go up against?
Yeah, his eyes. He just, you know, he knows where he's supposed to be, first and foremost. So he's in great position, but then he's got a real suddenness to the ball. He tracks the quarterback's eyes, and he's making, you know, just football quarterback 101, start with your eyes down the middle to hold the Mike linebacker. And, you know, if we start staring routes down, he undercuts things, and he's got great hands. That's the thing. It's not just his eyes and intelligence, but you have to be able to catch the ball too. So he's got a lot of that. He's a pretty good player.
David Wells is
With wide receivers?
David Wells has been a surprise at number 2.
Yeah.
You know, at number 2 tight end. What do you like in him? What have you seen from him that's given him maybe an edge up over the other competitors?
Just versatility. You know, you look for, that's like the number one word for tight end is versatility. So for him to be able to play in the box and then just in those passing situations, which a lot of you have seen at practices, he's making plays down the field, making plays short. He separates, and he's just consistently doing the right thing. So he's going to give himself a really good chance to help us.
And with the wide receivers, we know Mike We know Chris.
Yeah.
I know Gage was hurt, but now he's out there.
Yeah.
Who else should we be aware of that's caught your eye at the wide receiver spot?
Oh, Trey Palmer for sure. Talked about David Moore. He's been doing fantastic. Raheem Jarrett, he's doing great, and he's got a real skill set, you know, and is got some power too, and some things that he can do with the ball as well that I'm excited to see. Shoot, I'll go down the whole list. I love these guys. Devin Tompkins is just like, he's so fast, and we finally got to one-on-ones, and you know, we just had a fun time as a group watching a few of those reps, and see him fly around the field is amazing. Kalen Geiger can really just drop down, stop on a dime, and showed some ability there. Cade's got a great feel for just getting open. Ryan Miller has done a fantastic job. Just doing what he's supposed to do. He makes big plays. Played tight end in college too, so he's got a lot of that same thing I was saying about David Moore, just with that, you know, contact balance and play strength that we're excited about. And then Tay Barber, you know, he's still catching up a little bit with the system, but Tay will have flashes where when you see his ability, he's a really natural slot player, really natural receiver that we're excited about as well. Did I leave anybody out? I think those are our guys. Yeah, it's a good. Yep. Appreciate you. Okay. See ya.